Hey, this is Alan Jones with HiFi Buys, and I am so happy to be able to be out at a customer's house. And Richard, say hello to everybody.
Hey, nice to meet everybody. Alan, great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Share some of the joy of this amazing thing we did together. So,
you know, and I have to say, just coming in the house and that kind of thing, I know my crew's been over here quite a bit. What a lovely home. Thank you very much for allowing us time to come over and spend a little time with you. And I just wanted to kind of help folks see the kind of work we do, or what a kind of an effect on a system might have, and that kind of thing on a household. And I know you've been wanting to do something like this for quite some time. Tell us a little bit about how you got attracted to stereo.
Oh, I grew up around music and have always loved music. And quick little story, my first hi-fi equipment, I was going off to college. And at that point, I grew up very poor, worked my whole life at my uncle's gas station, paid my way through school driving a truck.
Awesome.
And I got to college, I got a scholarship, and I got an extra $500 I didn't need.
Yeah.
And I went to the local hi-fi store in Terre Haute, Indiana, and bought my first amp and speakers.
Wow.
I kept that stuff for years, and then 15 years ago, I was living in Manhattan, and I went out and spent, not nearly the kind of money I spent for this equipment, but took it up a notch or two. That system's still in my office down the hall.
That's awesome.
And so I've had that for going on 20 years now. But when I moved to Atlanta in 2015 to marry my wife, who's here, I discovered your store and went in there. I thought, wow, this is some wild, amazing stuff. I actually remember the first time I met you and you showed me around the 3 different rooms, and I thought, this is really interesting. And I had just started my law firm at the time.
Wow.
And I'm a contingency fee lawyer, which means that my income streams are extremely lumpy.
Right.
They come in 5 to 6 year increments.
And you never know when.
And you never know when.
Yeah.
So I thought, when I get the big hit, I'm coming back here. But in the meantime, I came in there all the time, looking at equipment, thinking, and as things got closer to, the point where I was ready to pull the trigger, I thought, well, I've worked really hard for the past 5 or 6 years. I want to reward myself. Maybe I'll trick out a 911. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. I think I will get a lot more joy from buying that hi-fi equipment I've been dreaming about for a few decades.
I wanted to ask you, how has that worked out as far as what you've gotten back out of the system? You've had a little time to use it now. You've had it, I guess, about 3 months or so. And so how has that worked out in your decision between doing that and doing this?
Well, I'll answer that in a couple ways. So I'm really into lifelong learning. And last year I took a 42-day happy course. And the happy course is focused on the brain science of hedonic adaptation. And what we know from hedonic adaptation is that if you buy something, after a while, you don't get the same kind of feeling from it, right? You get used to it. And then your neighbor's got something better, and it's not quite, it doesn't bring you the joy. And that's certainly true in my experience with automobiles. You buy a new car, it's gorgeous, you love it. You drive it for a while, and then it's your car, and you forget about it.
And they do replace models.
Right, and it's not the newest and brightest thing in the showroom. So I was thinking about that when I was making this decision, because the brain science also tells us that what really brings joy to your life are your relationships with other people, sense of community, and experiences, which is why a lot of people travel, and that gives them a lot of joy. But hedonic adaptation can even occur in that situation.
Absolutely.
If you travel too much. I had that experience when my wife had 18 months off and we were traveling the world. It's like, I'm in Tuscany, I've been there 12 days, we're supposed to be here for 15, too much wine, too much good food, I just want to go home. But the thing about music, it is an experience, so it's more like an experience than a thing. So it's not so much about the equipment, it's about the output of the equipment and what you're appreciating from
the music
itself. So it's really about the music. And the beautiful thing about that, there's so much music in the world that you could fill a lifetime with it.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to listen to the same thing. Hedonic adaptation is almost impossible with music.
I've loved your way that you look at, again, happiness. I know that when I found music almost 40 years ago, 2 days later, I forced the store to hire me, and it became this thing that has taken over my entire life.
Yeah.
So music absolutely drives me, and I love that. And I think when I'm able to work with folks like yourself, and I wanted to bring your wife into this conversation a little bit. The thing that you mentioned to me, and we talked a little bit about how has it changed kind of your household and the little interactions that y'all have and that kind of thing as well. Can you share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've always been a little sad that my wife doesn't appreciate music the way I do, or have the same emotional connection to it.
I've been there, yeah.
A couple days after the installation was done, I said, listen, just come down, sit with me for a few minutes. You just have to hear this. You know, the clarity and the whole sound. I said, it's the closest thing you'll get to actually being in the recording studio. Mm-hmm. So she came down and she was sitting here, sitting in your chair, and it almost made me cry. I get this warm feeling about it. She looked at me, she said, I hear his fingers on the strings. She could have an emotional connection with the music because the clarity and the definition was there. And it was like, for the first time in her life, she could hear the story.
It allows you all to have a better emotional connection with the music together as well, which is, I mean, what a beautiful thing to have happen.
It's a real joy. I mean, it's like, hey, let's go downstairs to the music, we call this the music room. Let's go downstairs to the music room and have some tequila and listen to whatever you want to listen to. And we'll just start exploring together.
Yeah, and it takes you one place and then to another.
Yeah, and then I'm hearing the music of her childhood, you know.
And getting stories.
I'm a bit older than she is, and so we've had, you know, we come from different decades, and so she's turning me on to music that I've never heard, and I'm sharing things with her. We had this amazing experience one night. We were sitting here. I'm a big Stevie Wonder fan, so I said, let me play you a song called Pastime Paradise. And I put it on, and she said, that's right from Gangster Paradise. I said, no, honey, Stevie Wonder was first.
Yeah, right.
So then we played Gangster Paradise, and Stevie's on the vocals, but the music was the music he wrote and that had been sampled in Gangster Paradise. And it's just like that connection. It's like crossing generations, you know.
I love when I get to work, or we as a store get to work with folks that really love music. This is our customer. People always ask, who is your customer? And it's a music lover, somebody that truly is wanting to get vested and really wants to spend some time with it. What I love is being able to sit down with my honey and being able to listen to music together and have her be as enthralled and as enriched as kind of what y'all are experiencing as well.
It's a game changer, right? Yeah. It's something else that we share in our relationship that it just brings me a lot of joy.
Tell us about your experience with HiFi Buys and kind of how that was from beginning to end. We always pride ourselves in not being really pushy and being fun, yet professional.
Let me start with sort of where it began, which was, you know, initially when we bought this house, we put a sound system in.
Yes.
You know, and it's everywhere. We've got it. First we put it all over the house, and then we've upgraded it since then. And then we built a pool, and you guys added it to the pool area. We've got 11 speakers out there.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. It's great for parties or just hanging out with our 6 children. And my first relationship was really the install you guys did on that, and then upgrading the TVs. And so you became my vendor of choice for just about anything electronics in the house.
Fantastic.
Great service, you know, always available. One thing in my life I don't have to worry about, you know, and then I started coming into the store more. You know, I met you. I saw your 3 rooms of magic.
These things start to gel in the mind.
And I started thinking, you know, I'd like to, after listening to the equipment in your shop, I thought, I have to have that one day. And when I got to the point where I was ready to buy, made several visits, spent time with you, with David.
I know we set up a couple of different systems for you.
Yeah, well, when we got to the end, it was like, okay, I said, look, here's my budget range. It's X to Y. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to hear a setup at X and a setup at Y. You guys set everything up in 2 different places. I came in, I spent several hours. I brought some of my own vinyl. I listened to some of your things. It was worth every penny that I spent to buy at the level I bought at.
Awesome.
And I was really happy about it. And I mean, I know it took a lot of time and effort to do that, and you guys were willing to do that. And then it also made the buying decision easy. You know, I had heard the system in the store, but in this room, I put a lot of time and effort into designing the room and getting everything here. And I decided until everything was done, I wasn't even going to turn it on.
Okay.
I was going to wait, but I had everything timed to the point where that was only a couple days.
Okay.
So I got everything in here.
Can't penalize myself anymore. Let's go.
Exactly. And fortunately, the guys had told me which switches to flip. So I had that down, and I put a piece of vinyl on, and it was just so rich and warm, and there's such clarity, no noise at all, nothing. I could hear things that I had not heard before. So I was playing sketches of Spain.
Yep.
And I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know that piece was in there. I was hearing things that I had not heard. I've listened to that piece of music probably hundreds of times, and I heard something I didn't hear. The level of detail is astonishing. It's like sitting in the sound recording room. It's the next best thing to live.
Yes.
Because you're hearing detail. In fact, it's better than a concert because
it is.
You can hear detail that you'll never hear in a stadium
Right.
or even a small concert.
Well, the noise floor there already.
Yeah, I mean, people are talking, glasses are clinging, but this is a whole different experience, and you can control the environment.
Absolutely. It's yours anytime you want it.
Exactly.
That's what blew me away, is that I can bring any band I want to and put them right in front of me anytime I want. And if I do it well enough, it's believable.
It is believable.
And that's what makes it so awesome.
Close your eyes and you're there.
Yep.
That's it. That's the thing, man. That's the dream. I want to share one other thing with you.
Okay.
Another reason I did this, as I've gotten older, I realized that what I really care about is the people I'm with. That's the most important part of my time. So it's like building community, right? I've been in Atlanta 9 years. Before the pandemic, I was traveling 150, 175 days a year. So I really didn't live here, didn't
really connect.
My friends were sort of limited to parents of children going to school with our kids.
Okay.
I saw this as a way to sort of strengthen my community, especially among my male friends.
Yes.
So I now have listening sessions. I pair them up. I'm trying to think about their personalities and how they fit together. They come over, have a drink, maybe sit outside by the pool and have a cigar first and listen to music together. One of my friends in particular is a vinyl lover, and he's a mentor in my vinyl journey, I'll call it.
That's awesome.
I get him here and he's like, hey, how long do you want to do this? I mean, I got all day. So it's been great from that point of view too.
That's awesome. What a great perspective to put it from. And I know that most of us are pursuing ways to be able to listen to music and to share music and to do those kind of things with others. So, I don't mind saying the folks that have shared it with me and me sharing it with them, we always have a richer experience because of it. And I think it's one of the reasons, again, why we've come together so well.
Yeah, connected.
Because our passions are where your passions are.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I see that in your whole team, I mean,
thank you.
During the install, when Chris and the whole team were here and we're talking about music the whole time, they're doing their job, they're putting it together, they're excited.
They can't wait to hear it.
They want to hear it. And it's like, Richard, you got to go to work, we got to finish this first, and then we can talk more about music.
I think one of the things that I find as installers come over and do it, what most people don't realize is how big the job is and how much is involved in it.
It was pretty amazing. I had no idea, to be honest. And so when they said, well, take 3 days, I thought, how can it take 3 days to set up a hi-fi system? But when you realize the speakers in the casing were 500 pounds each.
Correct.
And they've got to get them off the truck, in the house, down a staircase.
Yes.
I was watching all that, and at some point I said, I can't watch. I'll go back to work. I want to see it when it's done.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
There's heavy equipment being moved. There's expertise and a lot of particular planning that's been done previous to that as well.
Yeah, so it was just a great experience all around.
That's awesome.
And then the other thing I will say about your team is it's not like you put it in and disappeared.
Right.
So the equipment's complicated. Sometimes something doesn't work quite the way I think. I can get one or two of your guys on the phone whenever I need them. It's like, do this, and bam.
Boom, and it works.
So that's great too. I really appreciate that.
Well, that's awesome, because it's not, we always tell everybody this is the beginning after we've already almost finished. It's our passion too. And when your system doesn't work, we're not happy because we understand that passion.
Well, I'll say you've definitely outperformed my expectations.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Yeah. You didn't ask me to say that, but it's from the heart and it's true, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you. I could not be more proud of my team and of this system, and just thank you very much for participating with HiFi Buys and enriching your life and leveling up.
Well, thank you. We'll come back over and listen to some more music.
I can't wait.
All right.
I'll do it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.